the 1982-83 Philadelphia 76ers. Sandwiched right in the heart of the Lakers and Celtics dynasty days is one of the greatest teams of all time, and a team that some even consider as the best of the best. In the summer of 1982, the 76ers signed the superstar Moses Malone. He was in the prime of his career, coming off of an MVP season with the Houston Rockets. Waiting for him there was the lethal man known as Dr. J, Julius Erving. In 1982, before they had acquired Moses Malone, the 76ers were already considered one of the best teams in the league. They had won 58 games and pushed the Lakers to 6 games in the 1982 NBA Finals. They had come extremely close to winning the championship, and then they simply improved in the offseason by adding the league's MVP. A tandem of Dr. J and Moses is terrifying enough in itself, but they had much more firepower than that. 4 out of their 5 starters were named NBA All-Stars in that 1983 season. Starting at the point was the Hall of Famer Maurice Cheeks. The 6'1", 27-year-old loved the fast break, and he was an excellent facilitator and an excellent defender who made first-team All-Defense that season and a total of 5 All-Defense teams over the course of his career. More specifically, Maurice was one of the greatest pickpockets of NBA history and currently stands 5th on the all-time list in steals. Starting at the 2-guard spot was the efficient scoring shooting guard Andrew Toney. As a 25-year-old, he was in the prime of his career and put up 19.7 points and 4.5 assists on 50% shooting over the course of that season. At the 3 was the 6'7" small forward Julius Erving. He was 32 years old and technically just past his prime seasons, but with that being said, he was still lethal and one of the best wings in the league. That season, he contributed with 21.4 points, 6.8 rebounds, and 3.7 assists on 51.7% shooting. Their weakest spot in the starting lineup was at power forward. The 6'8", 26-year-old rookie Mark Ivoroni contributed just 5 points and 4 rebounds in his 20 minutes per game. But when you're surrounded by all-stars, I can understand why it can be hard to achieve nice numbers. Starting at the 5 was arguably the most underrated center in NBA history, Moses Malone. Moses was once again absolutely dominant that season, both as a scorer and on the boards. He put up ridiculous numbers of 24.5 points, a league-leading 15.3 rebounds, and 2 blocks on 50% shooting. He was also first-team All-Defense that year. Coming off the bench was their go-to 6th man, the 6'9" power forward Bobby Jones. He played 23.6 minutes per game that season, and his nickname was the Secretary of Defense, and for good reason. Bobby was a 5-time All-Star who made 11 All-Defense teams over the course of his career. He was so good defensively that season that Bobby made first-team All-Defense as the 6th man. Needless to say, he was that year's winner of the 6th Man of the Year award. Between Malone, Maurice Cheeks, and Bobby Jones, the 76ers represented half of the entire NBA's first-team All-Defenders that year. Rounding out their rotation were additional decent pieces in Clint Richardson and Clement Johnson. With Maurice Cheeks and Erving, they were fierce in transition, but if they wanted to slow things down and run a power offense through Moses, they could do that too. Looking at the results of this group, we see that the 76ers finished with a league-best 65-17 record. They had statistically the 5th best defense and the 5th best offense that season. They beat teams by an average of 7.7 points over the season. They utterly dominated the playoffs, finishing the postseason with a 12-1 record, and they had that season's MVP, Moses Malone. Moses is still the only player in NBA history to win back-to-back MVP awards on 2 separate teams. This team was absolutely incredible and was clearly the best throughout the season, and they knew it too. Heading into that postseason, a reporter asked Moses how he expected his 76ers to do in the playoffs, and his response was, foe, meaning the amount of games they would play in each series. To say their confidence was high would be a massive understatement. A big factor of why the 76er team is so unbelievably great is because of the strength of their playoff schedule and how they dominated regardless of the competition. They started by sweeping a solid New York Knicks team in only 4 games. After that, in the Eastern Conference Finals, they had a meeting with the powerhouse Milwaukee Bucks, who had names like Sidney Moncrief, Marcus Johnson, and Bob Lanier. If that doesn't tell you how strong the Bucks were, consider the fact that this Milwaukee team was coming off of a 4-game sweep over the Bird, McHale, and Parrish-led Boston Celtics. Up to that point, the Celtics had never been swept in their 30-year playoff history. Despite the Bucks looking like a more than formidable matchup, Moses and the 76ers still dominated, defeating Milwaukee in only 5 games. Waiting for them in the finals was the defending champions and the team that beat them last year, the Magic Johnson and Kareem-led Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers seemed poised to be the resistance that the 76ers needed, but the truth is, absolutely no one was slowing down the 1983 76ers. In those finals, Malone absolutely destroyed Kareem and the Lakers, putting up 25.8 points, 18 rebounds, and 1.5 steals and 1.5 blocks on 50.7% shooting, and he was rewarded the Finals MVP as they stunned the basketball world by sweeping the juggernaut Lakers. That 12-1 postseason run is still to this day tied for the fewest losses in NBA playoff history. This would be their only championship in the 80s as Julius was beginning to reach the twilight of his career. But as far as that single season, all the perfect elements collided to make the perfect storm, and the result was a team with a strong case for the title of greatest in NBA history. Let me know in the comments section where you rank the 1983 76ers among the greatest teams of all time. Thanks for watching as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more NBA content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.